The organizers looked out across the Steffi Graf Stadium and genuinely thought something had gone wrong. This was supposed to be the showpiece event of the Berlin Open, a WTA 500 final, one of the biggest grass court tournaments before Wimbledon. Two elite players walking onto center court, television cameras ready, sponsors lined around the court, commentators prepared for a dramatic championship match, and yet entire sections of seats were empty. Not just a few scattered gaps. Whole rows. The same stadium that had been overflowing with noise, flags, chants, and energy just 24 hours earlier suddenly felt hollow, quiet, almost abandoned. The atmosphere was so different that even commentators on the broadcast began mentioning it carefully, trying not to sound disrespectful while clearly noticing the obvious reality unfolding in front of them. Because something extraordinary had happened in Berlin that week. A 21-year-old Filipino wildcard named Alexandra Eala had accidentally exposed something the tennis world never fully understood until now: the power of the Filipino fanbase. And when she lost in the semifinals, the crowd disappeared with her. Not gradually, instantly. The WTA noticed. The organizers noticed. The players noticed. And by the end of the tournament, the entire tennis world was asking the same question: how did one young player become powerful enough to completely change the atmosphere, ticket demand, and economics of an international tennis tournament in less than a week? To understand why Berlin turned into one of the strangest stories of the tennis season, you have to start with the player at the center of it all. Because Alexandra Eala was never supposed to become the story of the tournament. She arrived in Germany as a wild card ranked outside the top 30. Talented, yes. Dangerous on grass, maybe. But still viewed as a developing player rather than a genuine contender. Most predictions had her exiting quietly in the early rounds. Instead, she turned Berlin upside down. The tournament began quietly enough. Her first opponent was Donna Vekic, the Queen's Club champion, one of the most experienced grass court players on tour, and someone arriving in Berlin with serious momentum. For long stretches, it looked like the experience gap would show. Vekic pushed Eala constantly, forcing her into difficult service games and exposing the pressure points that still exist in the young Filipinos game. Then came the moment that changed the tone of the entire week. Serving late in the match, Eala fell behind love, 40. Triple break point. Against an elite grass court player, that usually means disaster. One loose forehand. One nervous second serve. One moment of hesitation, and the match flips completely. Instead, Eala stayed calm. She saved all 3 break points. Then another. Then another. And finally closed the match 7-5, 6-4 with fearless shot-making that immediately made people take notice. At first, it just looked like a good win. A promising performance. A talented young player surviving a difficult opener. But nobody yet understood what was about to happen next. Because the draw waiting for her after Vekic looked almost impossible. Elena Rybakina, world number 2, Australian Open champion, former Wimbledon champion, one of the most feared grass court players in the world, and a player who had already beaten Eala comfortably earlier in the season. On paper, this was supposed to be the end of the run. That's how tennis works most of the time. Young rising player builds momentum. Crowd gets excited. Then an elite champion arrives and restores order. That was the script everyone expected in Berlin. Instead, Alexandra Eala delivered the match that changed everything. Rybakina came out exactly the way champions do. Explosive serving, clean hitting, fast points, complete control. Within minutes, she had raced to a 4-1 lead in the opening set, and the match already felt familiar. Too much power, too much experience, too much composure. The kind of scoreboard that makes people start casually checking their phones because the upset appears to be over before it even truly began.
And then Eala changed.
Not emotionally, not dramatically,
Tactically.
she started taking the ball earlier, started attacking second serves, started redirecting pace instead of absorbing it. Point by point, game by game, the match slowly shifted. 4-1 became 4-3. 4-3 became 4-all. Suddenly the pressure that had completely disappeared returned to Rybakina's side of the court. And for the first time all afternoon, the world number 2 looked uncomfortable. The crowd sensed it instantly. Every Eala winner produced louder reactions. Every long rally increased the tension. Every hold of serve felt bigger than the last. Then came the moment people in Berlin still cannot stop talking about. Serving for the match against one of the best players on earth, Eala admitted afterward that her hands were shaking. Not metaphorically, literally shaking. "I was shaking on match point," she said later. And then, with the entire stadium watching, she fired an ace anyway. One final Rybakina error followed. Match over. 7-5, 6-4. One of the biggest wins of Eala's career. One of the biggest upsets of the season. And the moment the Berlin Open transformed completely. Because what happened after the match mattered almost as much as the victory itself. Before doing interviews. Before media obligations. Before celebrations. Eala grabbed her phone and called her parents. Right there beside the court. "Oh my God, we were just screaming," she said afterward, smiling through visible disbelief. "My mom was there too. I'm really happy." That reaction spread everywhere online within minutes. Not because it was polished. Because it wasn't. It felt real. Completely real. No manufactured athlete response. No corporate media training. Just a 21-year-old overwhelmed by the biggest win of her life. And something about that moment connected with people instantly, especially Filipinos around the world. Now here's the part the tennis establishment completely underestimated. The Filipino diaspora is enormous. Millions of Filipinos live and work across Europe, North America, the Middle East, and Asia. And when Filipino athletes become internationally successful, the support system behind them becomes massive almost overnight. Boxing saw it with Manny Pacquiao. Weightlifting saw it with Hidilyn Diaz. Now tennis was experiencing it with Alexandra Eala. The moment she beat Rybakina, everything changed. Social media exploded. Filipino communities across Europe started sharing clips of the match everywhere. Group chats lit up. Flights were booked. Hotel rooms were searched. People rearranged work schedules. Fans living in London, Paris, Rome, Madrid, Amsterdam, and even farther away suddenly decided they needed to be in Berlin. Not next month. Immediately. Tournament organizers noticed the ticket demand almost instantly. The numbers started rising at a pace that reportedly surprised everyone involved with the event. Search traffic spiked. Resale prices increased. Sections of the stadium that normally stayed partially empty for early rounds suddenly filled up. The atmosphere transformed from a normal WTA tournament into something that felt emotionally larger. Filipino flags began appearing everywhere around the grounds. Fans chanted "Laban Alex" between points. Groups arrived wearing national colors. Some had traveled overnight simply for the chance to watch her live once. And then she won again. Her quarterfinal opponent was Alina Svitolina, another elite player. Another major champion-level competitor. Another match where experience heavily favored the opponent. But by this point, something had clearly changed in Eala's confidence. Against Rybakina, she looked fearless. Against Svitolina, she looked like she belonged. That's a very different thing. She attacked early, returned aggressively, controlled rallies from the baseline, and most importantly, handled pressure moments with the composure of someone ranked far above her actual position. 6-3, 6-4. Straight sets. Another top 10 victory. Another shock to the tennis world. And now the atmosphere in Berlin became almost surreal. Because the organizers suddenly realized something extraordinary was happening. The semifinals were becoming one of the hottest tickets the tournament had seen in years. Fans were desperately searching for seats. Social media videos showed massive lines outside the venue. Reports emerged of supporters traveling from different countries specifically for Eala's match. Tournament officials scrambled to accommodate the demand. Additional seating sections were reportedly opened. Security presence increased. Operations teams adjusted crowd management plans. For the first time, the Berlin Open felt less like a traditional WTA event and more like a cultural moment. And at the center of all of it stood a 21-year-old Filipino wildcard who was suddenly carrying the emotional energy of an entire global community. The stories from fans started spreading online. A nurse from London who took time off work just to attend the semi-final. A Filipino family from Paris driving overnight to Germany. Supporters arriving from Australia already traveling in Europe who changed their schedules entirely after the Rybakina upset. What made the atmosphere so powerful wasn't just the numbers. It was the emotion behind them. These weren't casual spectators. For many of them, Alexandra Eala represented something deeply personal. Representation, visibility, national pride. A feeling that someone from their country was finally breaking into a sport historically dominated by nations with far bigger tennis infrastructures. And every victory made that emotional investment stronger. By the time the semi-final arrived, Steffi Graf Stadium barely resembled the venue from earlier in the week. The noise was louder. The energy was different. Every Eala point triggered massive reactions. The Filipino flags were impossible to miss. And the tennis world finally started realizing this wasn't temporary hype anymore. This was a real movement. Then came Linda Noskova. And unfortunately for Eala, Noskova represented the exact kind of matchup that has troubled her before. Big serve, flat power, fast first strike tennis. Earlier in the year at Indian Wells, Noskova had overwhelmed Eala completely. This semi-final followed a similar pattern. From the start, Noskova's serve dictated everything. Aces, short points, immediate pressure. Eala struggled to establish rhythm. Some observers believed she also appeared physically uncomfortable, particularly around the shoulder and elbow during parts of the match. Whether injured or simply fatigued after an emotionally draining week, she never fully looked like the unstoppable player who had beaten Rybakina and Svitolina. Noskova was simply too clean. Too efficient, too aggressive. 6-2, 6-4. 1 hour and 9 minutes. The dream run was over. But what happened next is the part that shocked the tournament. Because the crowd reaction was unlike anything organizers expected. There was no anger, no booing, no dramatic scenes. Instead, thousands of fans stood and applauded Eala as she walked off court. Some were visibly emotional. Others waved flags one final time. And then, slowly, quietly, they left.
Not some of them.
Most of them. By the next morning, the consequences became impossible to ignore. The Berlin Open final was supposed to showcase elite women's tennis. Jessica Pegula versus Linda Noskova. Two outstanding players. A major title on the line. Normally, that should guarantee a strong crowd. Instead, television cameras kept cutting across visibly empty sections of the stadium. The contrast with the semi-final atmosphere was startling. The same stands packed with flags and chants the previous day now felt subdued and strangely quiet. Tournament organizers reportedly attempted multiple solutions. Discounted tickets, promotional offers, local outreach, additional giveaways. Nothing recreated the atmosphere from the Eala matches. Because the fans had not come for the event itself. They had come for her. And once she was gone, many simply lost interest. That reality sent a powerful message through the tennis world. For years, tournaments have talked about growing the sport globally, about building new markets, about connecting with new fan bases. Berlin accidentally discovered what that looks like in real time. One player from the Philippines generated emotional engagement strong enough to dramatically alter crowd demand at a major European tournament within days. That is not normal. That is influence. And it forced the WTA to recognize something important. Alexandra Eala is no longer just a promising young tennis player. She is becoming a global sports attraction. Because this wasn't an isolated phenomenon. The same pattern had already appeared in smaller ways earlier in the season. At the Australian Open, in Dubai, in Rome. Wherever Eala advanced deep into tournaments, Filipino support followed. Berlin simply revealed the scale of it more dramatically than ever before. The economic implications are obvious. More ticket sales, more engagement, more television interest, more social media traffic, more international attention. Tournaments spend millions trying to create emotional investment among audiences. Eala generated it naturally, and she did it while still only 21 years old. That's the part that makes this story even bigger moving forward. because she's not finished developing. Not even close. Her grass court level this season has already transformed perceptions around her potential. 9 wins in 10 grass matches. Victories over elite players. A WTA 500 semifinal. A rapidly rising ranking. And now a fanbase proving capable of changing the atmosphere of entire tournaments. That combination is extremely rare. Even Eala herself seemed overwhelmed by the support afterward. On social media, she wrote, "Can't begin to describe all the emotions I've experienced this week. My heart is full. I am forever grateful. Berlin, you are so special. Thank you." Simple words. But they carried weight because the week clearly changed her too. She arrived in Berlin as a dangerous young wildcard. She left as something much bigger. A genuine star. And stars change the economics of sports, whether organizations are ready for it or not. That's what Berlin exposed. The empty seats during the final became symbolic not because Pegula or Noskova lacked quality. They absolutely didn't. Both are elite players. The issue was emotional connection. Eala had created one powerful enough that people organized entire travel plans around her matches. And when she disappeared from the draw, the emotional center of the tournament disappeared too. That reality probably stunned tournament organizers more than the empty seats themselves, because they likely believed the event was always the attraction. Berlin revealed that sometimes one player can become bigger than the tournament, especially when that player represents an entire community hungry for visibility on the global stage. And make no mistake, this is only the beginning. Wimbledon is approaching. The biggest grass court tournament in the world, the sport's most iconic stage. And now Alexandra Eala arrives there carrying momentum unlike anything she has experienced before. She's no longer entering as an unknown young player hoping to make noise. She's entering as one of the most talked about names in women's tennis. A player who just defeated multiple top stars on grass. A player whose confidence is visibly growing. A player whose fanbase is beginning to reshape tournament atmospheres. And perhaps most importantly, a player who now genuinely believes she belongs at the top level of the sport. That belief changes everything. Because talent alone is never enough in tennis. The difference between very good players and elite players is often conviction under pressure. The certainty that you belong in those moments. Berlin may have given Alexandra Eala exactly that. She beat Elena Rybakina on grass. She beat Alina Svitolina on grass. She filled a stadium with supporters from around the world. And even in defeat, she remained the center of the tournament's story. That's not normal for a semifinalist. That's what happens when an athlete becomes culturally important beyond the sport itself. The Berlin Open final ended with Jessica Pegula lifting the trophy. Officially, she was the champion. But the lasting image many people remember from the tournament wasn't the trophy ceremony. It was the empty seats. Because those empty seats told the tennis world something numbers alone couldn't explain. Alexandra Eala had become more than a player. She had become an event, a movement, a symbol of representation for millions of fans who suddenly felt tennis belonged to them too. And now the entire sport is trying to understand what happens next.